Hello, my name is Gregory January, and this is my presentation of Enterprise Asset Management and Computerized Maintenance Systems for MIS 653 Supply Chains Information Systems. What is a Computerized Maintenance Management System, or CMMS? At its core, a CMMS is a timestamp repository of maintenance records and performance metrics. CMMS was designed to streamline maintenance management tracking. It does this by recording maintenance activities on equipment, assets, and property. Some CMMS applications are referred to as Enterprise Asset Management Systems, or EAMs. At one time, CMMS and EAMs were different applications, but in recent years, the lines between the two have been blurred. So CMMS was developed in the 1980s, and basically it was developed to replace manual maintenance processes like work order management, spare parts inventory management, and preventative maintenance scheduling. So that's where that was start. In the early 90s, however, there was a push to have these same processes implemented at an enterprise level, and that's where some EAM software was developed. So EAM offered a superset of CMS functionality. So it offered the same thing that CMMS software did, but it also offered root cause analysis, predictive maintenance, and find a cost analysis. So it offered a more robust set of items. In the 2000s, whereas when the internet came in, they were able to offer these solutions online. So CMMS providers incorporated some of the items that were included in EAM software and some of the traditional items. And on top of that, also offered online reporting and analytical tools. So when this happened, the line became blurred between CMMS software and EMS software. There are still some softwares out there that say, hey, we're EMS software and we are CMMS software, but they offer similar functionality. You may be wondering what exactly CMMS applications are used for. As this graphic says, it's used for tracking work orders, recording asset history, a scheduling task. I think the most important aspect of this tool is the scheduling task aspect of it. So basically what you can do is it does work order management, meaning if a portion, someone in the company says that something is broken, it creates a ticket for maintenance and is able to deliver that ticket to the correct people so the item gets fixed. There is no manual process with this. It is basically type it in and the ticket gets sent to the correct people. It also does planned maintenance scheduling. Now, during the planned maintenance scheduling, a ticket is created, no different than before. So there is no difference between the high-level tickets and the low-level tickets, meaning there is no difference between the scheduling maintenance. It's just as important as the regular tickets. And it gets sent to the correct people, and they were able to fix it. I think that's a wonderful idea because you're prioritizing maintenance the same as actual fixes. Also, it provides asset monitoring. So if a application is down or if a system is down, you're able to provide statuses to employees to tell you how long it's down. More importantly, you're able to redirect employees to a different application or a different a different tool to be able to account for this time being down. It is a very productive tool, and I highly recommend it. So, who uses CMMS software? Basically, any organization that has assets, equipment, or property. I know that's a generic or very general definition, but it's very true. Um, CMMS software can be utilized by almost any organization. There are, however, three main category of traditional CMMS users. The first one is production maintenance companies, companies that require production maintenance. Basically, these organizations make physical products, and they have the manufacturing equipment that needs maintaining. So this comes in very useful for them. Secondly, or fleet maintenance companies such as FedEx. I'm trying to think of somebody else. The UPS, United Postal Service, and so on. These companies have transport assets that require regular maintenance, of course, limo services, and catering companies. So you can keep track of the mileage and that are on these vehicles, and also when the maintenance has occurred on these vehicles, since they're used quite frequently. Lastly, the companies that have facility maintenance, which is almost all companies. Any organization with a building falls into this category, um, whether it be a office building or a warehouse building. Anyone can cut costs by a providing regular maintenance, and you can do this by providing a solid return on investment for this application. So, what are the benefits of implementing a CMMS tool? Basically, you're going to be able to, if implemented properly, you're going to be able to utilize your assets effectively. So you're providing regular maintenance, you're providing limiting the downtime, so you're going to be able to use those assets to their fullest potential. Repair costs will be low because of the preventative maintenance. Also, downtime will be reduced significantly because of the preventative maintenance. You're able to schedule that and introduce that on time. It also streamlines purchasing procedures. I guess you're wondering, how does that happen? Well, when you need to replace some of the items that are used frequently, for instance, you need to replace tires, you need to replace belts on vehicles, and so on. You can see when the last time these items were replaced, and you can replace them proactively. This is a part of the preventative maintenance items of it. So it streamlines purchasing procedures and reminds you that you need to replace these items. And lastly, the risk and accidents are reduced. Why are the risk and accidents reduced? It's because of you're doing preventative maintenance. You're preparing for things to wear out. You're preparing for things to stop working. Thus, that reduces accidents. Now, this was one of the hard things to research. It was one of the drawbacks to CMMS. There really weren't that many, and I was really shocked by that. But one of the first things is staff training. You're going to have to train your staff, everybody from the maintenance men to management, to be able to use this application. And generally, to allocate that time is costly because you have to run a well-ordered oiled machine. But in order to implement this tool or implement a new version of CMMS, you will have to train your staff. Next is if you're utilizing a version of CMMS that is in the cloud or is working remotely, the data that is gathered from these items resides on the software provider's servers. So it's not, you're not hosting this information. That could be an asset or a drawback. It depends on how you look at it, but it is not on your particular servers. Also, it's the data security. We always are aware of data security of these providers that are offering these services. So they could get breached, and your data could be compromised. In recent years, one of the companies with the most successful implementation of CMMS have been trying to stave off and prepare for what is known as the Great Crew Change. So this is the oil industry, some of the large maintenance projects such as public transportation, meaning subways, buses, light rails. Some of these items that have been around for a long time and are needed to persist and continue to work on. The people who work for them are of an aging workforce. The people that have been maintaining them for the last 20, 30, 40 years. They're known as the baby boom generation. What constitutes a baby boomer is if you were born between the years 1946 and 1955. So these people were born as a result of soldiers returning from World War II. So when you return from war, a lot of the population tends to rise quite quickly, and these people came of age during the Vietnam War. So they were used to working to a lot of these factories. And like with most factories and most maintenance items, most things don't change just because for the sake of technology. If it if a if a I did my internship years ago at Army ammunition plant, and they were utilizing equipment that was made back in the 1940s and the 1950s. This is a U.S. government Army ammunition plant, but they went out of the context. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So they're not going to invest money into the latest and greatest technology. Whereas when you have engineers and maintenance people who are younger, they're expecting to work on some of the latest and greatest technology, and they're trained on the latest and greatest technology. So what needs to happen during this time? You need a tool that will document the processes to keep these items up to date and working, which is MMIS, and also schedule that until these young engineers can get up to speed, or the items get replaced. So this has been a great tool with that transition of old to young, because they're able to document some of the items that were document some of the knowledge that were with this old guard, and be able to transition it to a younger workforce. Next, we're going to discuss how CMMS programs support the SCORE model. SCORE stands for Supply Chain Operations Reference Module. The SCORE model contains 5 different performance attributes, of which CMMS supports 3 of them. The most important one that CMMS supports is the assets performance attribute. It supports the assets performance attribute in many ways by preventative maintenance and by the ticket systems. So preventative maintenance keeps the assets up and running at their peak and helps them last longer. And then the ticket system allows people to log a ticket to be able to get the asset back up and running, or get anything that may be going wrong with that asset fixed. Next is reliability. Reliability, the CMMS supports the reliability by keeping the assets up and running at their peak, same as that. And so this helps the company be reliable that the asset's going to be there, it's going to be working, it's going to be doing what it's supposed to do. Lastly, CMMS lowers cost. How does it lower costs? By doing preventative maintenance. This helps your asset helps the life expectancy of your asset, extends that, so you're not replacing items as frequently as you could be if there was no preventive maintenance. These are the references provided by within the project and are available on D2L. So these are not the references that I mined, but these are the references that are available within D2L. These references are ones that I mined for myself and have utilized throughout the presentation. So if you would like to take a look, some of them are good reads. Here are the questions I have for this module. Do you see a use for artificial intelligence in future CMMS applications? And also, what type of industry would not benefit from using a CMMS?